Academy Award winner Paul Newman once said, acting is a question of absorbing other people's personalities and adding some of your own experience. But how exactly does one work out experiences and personalities to turn into a fine performance worthy of recognition? Let's find out what acting really is like and how one guides celebrities into talented actors, as we are honored, very, very honored to have with us renowned Hollywood acting coach Ivana Chubbuck. How was that for an introduction? Do you like Paul Newman? I was a little scared that you may not be a Paul Newman.
How could you not like Paul Newman?
I know.
Paul Newman is not only a very handsome man,
yes,
but he also...
faithful to his wife.
That's very rare in Hollywood.
Yeah. Okay.
But also he's an amazing actor because he comes from the actor studio. He actually comes from method acting. And so has similar kind of bones of what I do, which is taking from your truth and your own experiences. But he understands that humor is really key to put in everything. But
you have humor and you say you have to have pain.
Well,
how can you actually put that together in the kind...
But think about this.
Think about how you actually are guiding.
No, but here's the thing about it. Like, think about how... Aren't you at your funniest when you're in pain? When you have to, like, what you do is you talk to yourself and you say, I can't believe this is happening, how bad can it get? And we start to make ourselves laugh at how bad things are. You know, and it's so and also in the name of desperation and need and pain, we end up doing some pretty silly things. And think about some of the things that we look back on, that we laugh at what we once did at the time was very tragic. But a comedy is based in rage and pain and desperate need, and that's and when you look at the best comedians, you know, like Charlie Chaplin, one of the most important comedians of all time. I mean, in terms of acting. Charlie Chaplin was like, with behavior, with the way he moved and everything, but it was all very based on his sadness and his loneliness and his need to fit into a world that he didn't feel he fit into in regards to his character, but also in terms of who he was as a human being too.
I know, but when one goes through pain, one goes through several stages of this
Absolutely.
pain. They grieve and they get angry and they bargain and then they accept.
And they also laugh.
And they also laugh. But
but the humor is really important. Life is about all the dark and the light, right? So we can sit there and we can talk about the dark, but the dark ceases to be very dark when there isn't light that makes us feel the dark really has its weight. Dark, you know how like when you sit in the dark, you can see after you've been in the dark for a while? Well, you know what? It's really dark when the light's been turned on, and then you turn it off. So the light has to be there. What is light? Light is humor. Light is medicine. You know, comedy, humor is how we survive.
But you presume that all of us who you want to guide in this acting as an acting coach goes through a pain at any point in their life, and there is always that pain that you want to draw from them.
Well, I think
is that how it happens when you are able to enter into the life of a Beyonce, a Brad Pitt, or a Halle Berry, and all of these other?
It's not what people think. It's like it's not what people think, and I'm going to tell you. It's like the idea is human beings will have things happen to them, and then their natural instinct is to try to overcome it, is to find a solution, to find a way to win in spite of and because of the pain. So pain is a fuel to overcome and win with. It's not something you sit in. No, who wants to sit in their pain? Who wants to, like, have something bad happens to you? Think about eulogies. When you go to a funeral, that's a sad, sad moment. We're mourning. But eulogies are funny. They're often very funny, right?
Yes.
And because we're celebrating the life of that person, not the death of that person. And what makes somebody alive is that they are quirky and mannered and unique in some in interesting ways, and that makes us remember them with humor.
Okay, in all of the individuals that you have dealt with, and these must be in the hundreds, the one-on-ones are the extraordinary personalities that you have worked with. These are all present in their profile, in their attitude, in their background, that you have been able to draw from them?
Well, I draw from them, like, we have to look at, like, we look at the character on the page first. What is the character going through? How have they hit bottom? What has created the circumstances that make them feel like things are untenable and impossible to change or fix? And then go into a place of how does the character negotiate life in a way that allows them to change their circumstances, to overcome, climb the mountain of pain and hurt and experience, and be able to overcome it and find some kind of solution or evolvement, personal evolvement, on the other side of it, so that we as an audience are watching this character who has similar pain and issues that we have, but we're watching them doing something about it, trying to fix it, trying to change it, trying to solve it. So we as an audience are saying, well, if they can try to go about trying to solve their issues and their insecurities and their pains, maybe so can I. It's about giving people hope. It's not about people sitting in their pain. And it's about people, like, so what I do is, like, I look at the character on the page. Then I tell the actor that I'm working with, whether they're a star yet, because I've often, most of those people that you know as stars, I knew them as they were broke, living out of their cars, you know, and it was through the work that made them have their mansions and all their money, because they made it about the work. But what I do is I say, what do you need to solve in your own personal life? What is it that you're going through right now that you need to solve? Is it a relationship problem? Is it a problem that you're having conceiving, having a baby, or whatever? We're going to take that information. First we look at the character, then we say, what do you need to solve? And through the script and the environment of acting or directing or writing, because I work with all three and it works for all three, we use that as a way to overcome our personal issues through the words on the page and through the journey of the person on the page, and then try to solve our own personal issues, and it works. It works.
It obviously does work.
Yeah.
Do you collaborate with the screenplay, the script writer, the director?
Often,
do you?
Often, yes. Like,
do you at some point become a director?
No. My job is to be.
You are an acting coach, but you are a therapist. Are you a therapist?
Without the cure.
No, seriously,
I'm not a therapist.
Does it make your talent and your skill and the job that you have been doing for 36 or so years become like something that I, as your student, becomes dependent on you to be able to draw every time I'm given a script to perform?
I teach you how to do it yourself.
Ivana. There's another one, and it's a different character altogether. Is that how the engagement is done? Is that how it is?
A good educator, and I consider myself a really excellent educator. A good educator teaches people how to do it themselves. And so I say this all the time. I say, I want to be able to die tomorrow and know you can carry on and do exactly what we've been doing while I'm alive. I say this all the time. I need to teach you to do it yourself. I need to empower you to know that you have the ability to do this. There's information in the book, the 12-step program, how to break down a script. So many people who don't have me personally, all over the world, this book's been translated in many, many languages. I get emails daily from people on how I've changed their life, both in terms of career, getting awards that they've never gotten before, careers, leads that they've never gotten before, and also how it's changed their lives, because the basic concept of my technique is take pain and trauma and use it to fuel your ability to overcome and win, therefore creating catharsis.
Catharsis is
letting it go.
A condition or a situation that allows you to
let it go.
Let it go and not stay with it.
Let it stick like glue. Because like most of the time people take trauma or insecurities or fears and they let it sit inside their body and it becomes toxic. How cancer happens and disease happens off of the toxicity of the mind. There's scientific proof that your psyche does affect your physical health, right? Yes. Or lack thereof. Yeah. And so by virtue of finding a way to put it in your work, we're painting a pretty picture with your pain. So it only allows you to find a place to put it so that you can let it go. Mm-hmm. But it also allows your viewers, your audience, to, they're invested because your investment. Mm-hmm. Your investment as an actor, writer, director, creates an investment for the audience that allows them to feel that they can change their lives too, and also have catharsis.
At what point did a Brad Pitt, Halle Berry, or all the other great performers that have won awards and have been recognized from a no one to someone in the globally, at what point do they find the need to call you an acting coach? What is the need that they express to you?
Well, okay,
you say you don't want them to reach for a goal. I want to win an Oscar. Can you help me out with this? I want to earn more money.
It should never be about that. It should be about that's gravy. That's called the purpose. That's the gravy.
But the transformation, you inspire them and you transform. Is that the transformative power?
I empower people. It's not by accident. The book is called Power of the Actor. I empower you, and then therefore you are empowering your audience. And so there's empowerment that's being passed along. We live in a world where we are victims.
What is the most palpable measure of that empowerment, apart from the awards and the recognition and the mansions and everything that they get materially? What is it that you as an acting coach find in that transformation? And what do they actually say, hey, I'm doing things differently? What are those little signals that they give?
We first have to look at these people that most people don't see them as anything other than they were always stars, like somehow they were born that way. Remember, they're not. Brad Pitt had like 3 stupid jobs.
Yeah.
He didn't have a social life. He came to class all the time, worked every little bit of money that he had, and he didn't have much. He worked on privates and being in class, and it was the joy of being great at something that you do. And isn't there something wonderful about the pride and that you have in your passion? So if I have a passion to do something, I want to do it well, and I think that's very empowering, and I think that's enough of a motivating force in itself.
It doesn't become an obsessive kind of a passion where.
Well, think about this.
I was reading a portion of the Brad Pitt story where you would get some people to act out a rehearsal or an audition, moment for him and for him to get a job, and he'd want to rehearse for 5 hours with this man or this woman who was in that scene for audition. I mean,
I can tell you like some like great stories about Brad Pitt. He would he would come to me for auditions for commercials, and I'd say, look, save your money, you don't need to do that. He had one part, all he had was 3 lines, it was one of his early parts, and he wanted to work it and work it and work it. An hour and a half went by, and I said, Brad, you got it, it's done. But it's the pride in what you do. So it's like, people have to get out of their head that what they read in the tabloids means anything.
Yeah.
For real actors, they don't care about the mansions. They don't care about the money. So many of my clients before they're making millions now were just essentially because they wanted to train, and they had such respect and pride in their work, and that's what they got out of it, was pride in doing something wonderful. Don't you feel that way when you do a really particularly good show? You walk away and it makes you feel like you're walking on air, and that's the same kind of thing. So it's like that's commerce, that's bank. Feeling good about yourself.
It's not something,
yeah,
if at all you did not meet a Brad Pitt, someone who was very raw, but was talented and had this kind of something to do better and bigger always for my own dreams. Was there someone who just felt that he was God's gift to Hollywood, and that
they'll never know who they are, because those people will never make it, because they have the wrong reasons for doing it. It has to happen. It's like all things, like you know, from people like Steve Jobs and all very important people.
It's the outlier. It's the outlier. Malcolm Gladwell kind of a principle in his book that says, look at the Steve Jobs and the Bill Gates. They how many hours they spent.
Yes, because you love it. Now people say, how come you work so many hours and you never take vacations? You're always working. I work 16-hour days. I have my
weekends. But a raw talent will not get you to where these people are if at all they did not put on this kind of a
work ethic. So important.
Work ethic.
But the whole point is, if you don't love something, you wouldn't want to put the work ethic. It's not just doing the work. Then it becomes a burden. Anything that becomes a burden is something that is not going to be, no matter how hard you work, because your heart has to be attached. I always say to my actors, my writers, directors, how is your heart in jeopardy? Because that's the most interesting.
How is your heart in jeopardy?
Yeah.
Can you handle a child doing this?
I can't handle my own child.
Okay, so you're not going to do this with a child whose mom is like a stage mother and
I
wants
don't work
to say,
with children.
Go with.
I don't work with children, but my child does.
Why?
Because I feel there's too much. Oh, I get so deep psychologically.
Not your child, not even your own child. I'm talking of someone who's.
No, I wouldn't work with anybody's child, because I feel that I work so deeply that it's not comprehensible to a child yet what it is that I'm talking about.
At what age then does it become comprehensible?
For me, like 18. Like being 18, and sometimes some people are a little bit older because they've emancipated, minor or something, and maybe 17. But listen, my daughter teaches the children that technique, so she knows how to do it. So she'd be the person to ask, because she said there's a way to make that work so you're not crossing lines into places that are inappropriate. I wouldn't know how to do that because I just don't know how to do that. And I don't think it's fair to mess with a child's mind. My daughter somehow seems to have a natural ability to do that, because people say she's brilliant at it. And I'm hoping that...
And she's handling her own classes, too.
Yeah, she handles Chubbuck Youth.
Chubbuck Youth. Okay, we will be back with Ivana here. More of our special interview with Ivana Chubbuck. She is an acting coach, but we're getting to know her deeper, and she's more than just an acting coach. I think she's a therapist. Talkback will be right back. Stay with us, please. Okay, welcome back. Still with us, acting coach Ivana Chubbuck. I've been saying it, but you didn't want to correct me. Anyway, so you were an actor before you became an acting coach.
I was.
And what? Where? What?
Where?
What were you doing?
Where and how? I came to Hollywood to be an actor, and I did a lot of comedy. So I'd say humor is so important. I actually did stand-up comedy too at the same time as David Letterman and Jay Leno. We were all like this is before they were famous, a place called the Comedy Store. And we all used to get up there, and David Letterman used to stand in the back and give me notes and what was working, what wasn't working, and I was a part of the comedy world. I also did, most of the stuff I acted in was comedies, like Three's Company and Laverne and Shirley and things like that. I'm, you know, aging myself, you know, but I came to a point where all actors kind of help each other out. And when I give notes to my friends, they did some of their best work they ever did. So people just started coming to me, and then I started charging a little bit, and then I started charging a little bit more.
What did they see? What did you think they saw in you that they came up to you and...
No, we just actors just help each other out generally. That's just what we do, you know. So it's like you told the story earlier about Brad having these people that's what actors do with their friends. They let's run lines together. Well, I would give notes because that's what actors do with each other, and my notes were always better, created a better performance for them than anything else that they were doing. So people just started coming to me, and then it just became such a influx of people that I started charging, and then it got to a point where I you know what, I was looking at my watch a lot when I was on set as an actor. I was going like, I can't wait to get home and teach somebody, because I ended up finding that I love being the nurturing force behind a talent, not being the talent myself. So ultimately I ended up quitting acting because I just really didn't like acting. I quite loved teaching it.
At what point does one get into your studio? Okay, and somebody who has not had any acting experience, any role, or any kind of job as an extra in any TV or stage. Nobody.
Well, you got to start
Who
someplace.
would go to you?
Well, Brad Pitt had no experience when he came to me. Charlize Theron had no experience before she came to me. Eva Mendes had no experience.
They were not yet engaged by any
but the thing
talent
is I have,
scout.
No, they were nobodies who had nothing.
Okay.
You know, so they just wanted to learn how to act, because that was their choice and that was their passion. And I have a system that goes, you start with the introductory class, and then you get moved up to the advanced class, and you get moved up to master level, which is me. I have other teachers that I teach that teach them before they get to me, so that it can be ready for me. But there's also, I have accredited teachers all over the world, and in schools all over the world teaching this technique, including Ryan Carlos,
yes,
who is one of my accredited teachers and has a school here. And so if he sends somebody from his school to my school in LA, they are, because they've been trained by him, they get to go straight to me. So they just need to understand how to do the technique. The reason why people have a process to get to me is not because I'm full of myself. It's because I need you to know what you're doing so that I can just get to like this stuff.
And how long is the introductory and the three before they get to you? How many days, hours? And
you know, it's up to you. And the thing is, if your skill level is quick, I've seen people do it within a couple of weeks. I've seen people take years. It's up to you, your work ethic and your abilities and your natural talent, and how much you can. In my classes, you can audit as much as you want. You should, because you take in. I need you to inundate yourself. Work hard. Take chances. Take risks in the personal choices that you make. Take risks in exploring who you are, because it takes great courage to really look at who you truly are, not who you want people to think you are. And so having courage, taking risks, working hard can move you to me really quickly. It's not a process. I don't believe art can be taught in increments of time. I think it's a process that everybody learns differently, takes in information differently. And so it's up to you. It's all very individual. It's very individually based.
And can anyone just withdraw, either accidentally or really deliberately, purposively stay out to say, I don't want to have it anymore. I've discovered something else in how to go about it. I mean, was there a time when there were some issues raised before you about how they were now dealing with themselves and maybe not getting anywhere in their career path, or wanting to get more out of the session? I mean, there must be conversations like that? No.
I just find, here's the conversation that this is how I teach. I talk about my stuff. I reveal my stuff. So I don't sit there and say, do this, do this, do this. I say, oh, I'm pretty screwed up on so many levels. This is my fears. This is my paranoia. This is my, like, dark issues. This is where I make fun of myself. I'm self-deprecating. And so we share. And it's a lot of like, oh, me too, you know, and having, like, these sessions that become more of an opening, bonding, friendship. So we're doing this together as a team.
And you see the authentic person, or do you know whether one is faking it?
Well, it's hard to fake it when you're being so real. When I'm being really real with somebody, there's no reason for them to fake it. The reason why people are not authentic.
Embellish their storytelling to you, or their narratives, if at all. That is the essence of how you
embellish. That's a good thing. That's what we do as human. We all embellish. We all. It's part of being human. You know. So it's what you have to do is not judge. You're judging, embellishing. It's like that's to me that's a creative person who embellishes. They take the bottom line of this is saying, well, this is what really happened. Well, that's a creative person because they're embellishing off of their truths into something that sounds more interesting and clever. So good for them. So I don't judge because I think in the arts, if you judge, you take away, you immediately create censorship. And censorship is antithetical to the arts. So you don't censor at any level whatsoever, and judgment creates censorship. Judgment creates the, I can't do that, I shouldn't do that, it's not the right thing to do, that's censorship. So take out judgment and anything is possible and everything is good. Everything is, like I can take anything that you tell me that you're about and say, oh, we can use that. It's like good, bad, ugly, you know, weird, crazy, usable. Because it's the arts, there's always some place to put it. It's
you don't have an overdose of all of these.
Overdose?
As they overdose of the story.
Oh, no, I was taking you in.
Overdose.
No,
overdose of emotion.
I was overdosing right now.
Overdose.
Okay. No. Do I have an overdose of emotion? Not, because I always keep translating it into how do we take this stuff and turn it into winning and accomplishing.
Okay.
So there's no such thing as overdosing an accomplishment. If I'm accomplishing something, I can't go overboard because accomplishment's happening. Does that make sense? Because if I'm accomplishing and I'm overcoming something large, there's no input.
It's the deluge of the storytelling and the exchange.
There's no deluge when you're using it to win with. Because winning is something that feels good, always feels good. There's no sense of winning that never doesn't feel good. So if I'm using whether it's a deluge of hyper emotion, but I'm using it to promote a winning circumstance and availability to overcome and win whatever it is I need. Like I want to win this guy's love. I want to get this job. I want to get my power back in my life because I feel like I've been victimized by somebody or the world or whatever. I'm using this. So there's no such thing as deluge because deluge by its very nature is too much. So I say all of that is workable and usable. So it's not, to me, the word deluge, it's lots of information.
Lots.
So it's good. So deluge is an implied negative. Deluge means too much.
Too much.
Like avalanche, you know. But it's like, to me, that doesn't exist because anything you say, everything that you talk about, I can use it. It's fodder, it's food, it's colors. It's something that I can say, oh, cool, let's use it for this. Oh, I didn't know that. Let's use it for this. You know, and that's why it's so cool. Like when I've been working with people like, oh, I got like Halle Berry for 15 years, for example. And so it's like for 15 years, every time we have a session, there's new stuff that comes up. New stuff in her present life, but also new stuff from her past. And it's like, oh, we could use this for this. And I get all excited.
Okay, so just give me a day when you're dealing, let's say, with a Halle Berry or a Brad Pitt, and they have new projects that come their way. And when they sort of become insecure about, I don't know,
they're all
what,
insecure.
some kind of insecurity, do they, I don't know how your guidance is with them, they go back to you and show you a script?
Well, and let's take out insecurity.
Is that how it's done?
Insecurity is a good thing, because it makes you work harder.
Okay.
Okay, so again, I'm going to take every negative word that you're going to throw at me, and I'm going to show what I do in my work is to turn it into a positive.
Okay.
Take negatives and turn it into a positive. Okay. Insecurity is usable. Insecurity makes a character interesting. Insecurity makes you work harder. So like someone comes to me, I'm afraid. I mean, Halle Berry was so afraid about doing Monsters Ball. It was like, I'm terrified. And I said, that's good, because it means you're going to work harder. It means you're going to spend more time trying to figure it out and put more details to it. So that's a good thing. If you're super secure about it, you just go, oh, if I can handle this, and your work wouldn't be as good. So I could always I'll throw any negative at me, and I'll turn it into a positive.
Okay.
I dare you.
So
I dare you. Give me a negative, because I'm going to turn it into a positive. Damn it.
So they have an emotional attack, okay, on the set, and they have a scene that they'll have to deal with.
Yeah.
And they've had all the rehearsals and guidance from the director. And they, as Halle Berry or as Brad Pitt, are not happy with what they've been showing off in their different takes.
Okay.
Do you get called in by the actor or by the director and say, hey, Ivana?
I work with people before they go to set. I mean,
so I'm not
on set with them. Because
you're not on the set or somewhere nearby on the set.
The directors are the captains of the ship. They
I know, but every time when I was reading about it, I said, this girl must take over at some point.
No, that's
get
just
into.
Wrong. My husband's a director. You don't cross that line, because
you don't. Know
that he's the captain of the ship. Okay, I support. I talk to the director. What do you want to see? I'll help you create the vision. So it's an ensemble process. It's never like, I just come to me or do this or I'll fix this. The only time when I'm on set is like someone like Beyonce, who's a singer. Yes. She's not a trained actress, so she needs someone there for her. She needs someone there who's going to be able to whisper in her ear her triggers.
You're a whisperer.
You know.
You're an actor.
Yeah, I'm the actor whisperer. Okay. I didn't even think of that. That's good.
Okay.
I'm the actor whisperer.
Yeah. So she's Beyonce. But if it asks for you, or you say, Ian, I'll be with you. So.
But she's usually the one that asks for me. It's on some occasion that a producer or studio will ask for me to be on set, but I say no to those. I just don't think it's right for an acting coach to be on set with the director being there.
Are there many acting coaches now?
But I work with directors, so
I know, but are there many acting coaches now because they've seen the way you've led the way for this kind of an industry or a guild?
A lot of people wear the hat. Very few people should be wearing it. You know, it really is. You have to be selfless. You really can't make it about your ego. Yeah. And that's the whole thing. It's like the people who make it about their ego, they're never going to be good educators, because it's all about you, not about them. And the more selfless, it's like, my focus is on the person in front of me. And it's like, so I'm not about, like, if you tell me, you know, if you talk about me, I don't know what to do with that information. So I always try to turn it around and make it be about you, because I'm all about empowering, nurturing, and making sure that that person is changing the world through the arts. I think that's our job. That's your job too. We could change the world through the arts. So things that are happening where people are being blown, innocents are being blown up.
Can you be an acting coach to a Donald Trump?
Someone who's a bit acting goes to Donald Trump, right? At least someone to do his hair.
No, it's no, it's something. You know, if they start engaging all the professionals like you for any sort of kind of a coaching for their performance as a politician. As a politician, is that part of what can be done, if at all? You want to be able to.
I wouldn't do it, but there are people that do that sort of thing. But it's not really acting coach. It's like more speaking coaches. There are people who are coaches that teach how to speak. speak, you know, but it's
that's all form, signifying nothing. If it's all just form, but it's it kind of
it's not. It's like you still have to connect to your audience. It's like what you're doing right now. Think of this as thousands of people, so it's like you have to make everybody feel like they're individual when you're talking to.
That's why they point and they point and they point. That's what they do. But that's not part of what you think that you can slide into. If
you got to learn how to do it.
If a friend of yours,
you got to learn how to do it, and there are coaches that teach you how to do that. But it's like,
but it's not something you've thought of that maybe I can do this.
It's not an interest, you know. I've been, you know, my issue is it comes to a point of your age.
Yeah.
And I just turned 64, and it's like it comes to a point where it's like, you know what, I want to do what I love doing, and I can say no. I'm in a position to say no. It's a fabulous position. I don't want to do that. I love doing that. I want to work with you. I don't. And the whole thing is, I'm not about celebrity based.
Yes.
It's like I work with a lot of unknowns because I believe in them and they excite me. I have a guy, you know, David Ayer is the guy who directed Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
Okay, he's one of my students for years. He's my student. 'Cause I work with a lot of directors too, and you'll see my work all over that movie if you've seen it, because it's got taking pain and turning it into a win. And you'll see that all over that movie. That's what my concept is: take pain and use it as fuel to allow you to overcome and win. And that's basically what the movie's about. So anyway, he sent somebody to me because he wants to use that person in his movie who's fairly new. I love her. I love her. She's 18. She's so naturally talented, and it's just something. I'm feeling her, and we'll spend hours together, and it feels like seconds have gone by.
What is feeling her? What do you see?
What do I see? It's what I feel.
What you feel? What do you feel? When you feel, you have to see something, or you have to listen.
I think it's a full
Five
experience.
senses are working.
Well, I think
what is it?
I feel connected, commonality of pain. I feel like there's a commonality of her issues and my issues are the same. I always say there's an exercise I do on how to create chemistry, and one of the exercises is creating a commonality of pain, because the thing that makes people really connect, friendship-wise, lover-wise, whatever, is because you feel that person understands you deeply in a way that nobody else gets you, because they have the same issues, the same history, the same childhood, the same insecurities or whatever. And so when I really connect to my students, it's because of that commonality of pain. I just feel like we share similar, soulful, profound issues. So our conversations don't require words all the time.
Yes.
You know.
So when you meet
I'm feeling you.
Someone when you meet someone who does not have that connection with you,
I think
how do you how do you behave? How do you
I become very unavailable.
You're detached.
No.
Detached,
I don't.
But
involved. No, I
what?
don't see them. I don't want to work with people I don't have that connection with. So what I do is, like, when they call and say, "Do you have time to work with me?" I say, "I don't have time right now." But I don't ever say I don't want to work with you, because that's not nice. I'm a nice person, you know. So it's like I've just become so unavailable that they just find somebody else to work with. But it's if I'm not feeling that connection, because I want to have fun. Life should be fun, right? And so the whole idea of people saying, "Bring your pain, bring your pain." Well, bring your pain is fun. You know what a pity party is? A pity party.
No.
Well, it's a party when you're really feeling sorry for yourself and you eat too much ice cream.
A pity party.
Yeah, a pity party. Okay. Well, okay, so, you know, it's called party for a reason. Pity party. Yeah. It's fun to feel sorry for yourself. It's fun to bring up the pain. And that's why it's called a pity party. And so that's what we're doing. So people say, well, "You're doing all this stuff, that bringing up all this pain." I said, "Yeah, but it's fun." It's a pity party. You know, we're having a party and we, you know, put out a parade, you know, and have some ice cream and stuff.
Okay, we will have the ice cream later on. The final stretch of Talkback in a moment. Stay with us, please. Okay, last few minutes with an outstanding human being.
Oh, wow.
Wow, acting coach. This is the first time I hear. I've heard about singing coaches, because I join a lot of concerts and I see our stars bringing along somebody with them. So you are an acting coach, and more than that, you are a therapist, I think, or a guidance counselor. But I had to really cram, may I just admit that I had to cram on exactly what you were, who you were, what you've done. Why was everyone raving about you? I said,
well, it's all in the book.
Why am I not in the loop? So anyway, thank you so much.
This is an easy way to break down a script. It's broken down into 12 steps that allows an easy way to do script analysis. So it's not so confusing. It actually brings in a very kind of like a guide, a real nuts and bolts how to break down a script, which there is no book like it.
So you read the entire script.
Well, you read the entire script, but this helps you.
And then this helps you to break it down.
To break it down in an easy way, because when I was an actor, what happened was I read all these great books about acting, Stanislavski, Boleshevsky, Chekhov, but they were all theoretical. There's a lot of theory. And what do you do with theory? It's not practical knowledge. So I set about, it took me 4 years, 25 rewrites, to write a very practical how to break down a script in a way that makes it easy for you to do, but also it creates empowerment in your choices. That's why it's called The Power of the Actor.
The Power of the Actor, and I was suggesting The Power of the Actor and The Power of Ivana. Who you've been working with so many, have there been someone recently that has just made it and gotten more awards than he can handle? I was thinking of
enough room on the shelf here.
Yeah, Sylvester Stallone.
Well, Stallone was like a very interesting story.
He's interesting, wasn't he?
I love this man. I was on the phone with him a couple days ago from here.
Okay.
Telling about my food experience here. And I love the food here, and I was telling him about the food here.
Okay.
But so I create relationships, friendship, because I talk about my stuff, they talk about their stuff. But in any case, Stallone came to me because he said, you know what, my skills have atrophied. I need to
that situation.
69. It's never over. You can always learn.
Okay.
He came to me at 69 years old,
okay,
and he said to me, he said, it's never. I don't ever want to stop learning. He said, I'm attached to you to the day he dies or I die. One of us has to die. But we are going to be attached because he loves this. It's not only giving him, getting the kind of respect and awards he's never gotten, even on Rocky. He never won the Golden Globe. He never won the Critics' Choice Awards. He's like, and there's, I mean, he has a list this big of awards he's gotten that he's never gotten even for the original Rocky, and of course, respect. After 40 years.
Okay.
And so he's like, he's so excited about doing the work. Talk about a hard worker. I was on vacation, and one of those minor moments that I take vacations, is that he got a new scene on Creed, the movie he won all the awards on. He calls me from set, and he says, I'm sorry to disturb your vacation, but they just threw a new scene at me. I sent it to you by email. Can we go over what's the objective? What's my inner work? What's all that stuff? So we went through the scene that he did, and then they called him to set. I mean, we literally did the work right before he went to set because they threw a scene at him that he didn't know he was going to have. They just wrote it. You know, so it's like that's how hard a worker he is. And he doesn't need to be. He was already an acting icon. He was already rich and famous. But that's the point about what you were asking earlier. It's not about the accolades. It's not about money. It's about pride, personal pride. And I think that that's worth more money than any gold bars, millions, billions of dollars. Personal pride, you can't buy personal pride.
But when you deal with stars of this caliber already and they come to you, is there any first exchange of pleasantries, or what do you want to know?
Yeah, I have to find out who they are, and I talk about, I ask questions, and we have a conversation that's more of a dialogue, because I don't ask questions and just expect, we talk, it's a dialogue. It's like, I'll ask a question and he will answer, then I'll say, oh, my experience of that is blah, 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 and then I'll throw another question, he'll answer, then my experience. So we're having a dialogue that allows him or whatever actor I work with to build on information that they may not have known about themselves, because it's not everything is available to us as personal information, and sometimes we have to learn about who we are as people together. I learn every time I work with somebody or with a class more about myself than I knew before that happened.
Do you learn?
I learn constantly.
Do you learn more from a man or a woman, or?
No, because it's human experience. Whatever our gender is, we all go through the same stuff. Our needs are primally the same, but as human animals. I studied behavioral science in college and cultural anthropology, and I find that that's
cultural
really
anthropology is really extraordinary.
Extraordinary, yeah. And that's really my base of my technique. So it's not about acting stuff. Exactly why it works. Now you understand.
I understand. No,
light bulb on that.
Seriously. But going back to this to this daughter of yours who's now going through the footsteps of dealing with that sector, what is it like for you and
to have her do what she's doing?
Yes.
I have a lot of pride about it, but I wanted to make sure she was doing this because she wanted to do it, not because she was trying.
She was in that environment.
Or because she was trying to make me happy. So I was so you know, I want my child to follow her dreams, whatever they may be. I will support them, whatever they may be. I don't want her to do something because she feels like she needs to be part of the family business kind of thing. And so she seems to love it. I mean, I never said this is what you should do. I said, if you want to do this, I'll support you. But she seems to want to do it.
What is the special thing that you think she's doing that she's able to deal with it more than you?
Well, in terms of like children, I don't know if I didn't try to work with children, maybe I would be good at it. I just don't wanna.
But you're happy with how your daughter grew up.
Well, she's a single kid.
Okay.
I come from 7 brothers and sisters, so I'm one of the oldest. And my mother is like mentally ill and never really capable of taking care of us, so someone had to. And my older sister wasn't capable, so I took care of so many kids. The last thing I want to do is take care of more kids. So it's like it's just not part of my reality of something that I want to do. So I think if I chose to do it, I might be good at it. I don't know, but it's not a passion.
Okay, you will leave this show by giving us some words of wisdom that you have learned in 36 years. And particularly if there is anything special or something that you've seen in the way we in the Philippines in general.
Well, I just did a workshop. Can I tell you what my biggest, what I learned over this weekend working with the Philippine actors? All about courage and the importance of courage is to be courageous, to really look at yourself and to really see that the things that you think are flaws are actually something to celebrate. And the courage flaws are something to celebrate, and it takes courage to see it that way. I learned that this weekend from your actors.
And how did that?
That's a really good thing. It's great for people and myself for us to see the things that we thought we had shame about is actually something that we should have pride about, that we're survivors.
The resiliency, maybe?
Or survivors. That's pretty wonderful.
This is not similar to a tragic flaw of the Greeks. No, nothing like that.
No, tragic flaws are things that get in your way.
Yeah. This is
not the things you want to have happen
flaws,
to you.
Yeah.
No, these are flaws. They're like flaws, for example, maybe something that happened where you felt controlled by a parent. And saying, well, like that, as I allow other people to control me, and I realize, you know what? I get my sense of humor about talking about that. So that flaw, that issue has actually become something that makes people like me because I'm funny about it. So that's one person's story, you know, that I'm giving you. But I'm saying is taking a flaw, and that's a specific person's story. She took a flaw and she turned it into a positive. I said, how wonderful is that? And so I'm going, okay, instead of taking the things that you're shamed about, the things that you think you have shame or that you're a victim about, see them as something to celebrate as part of what makes you unique.
Your greatest gift to yourself after all these years? What have you given yourself after what you have given to the industry and to the actors that you have empowered?
I think the biggest gift for me is to know that I've changed someone's life through my words, through my technique, in a way that allows them to feel empowered and capable of accomplishing anything they want, no matter what they look like, what age they are, and how handicapped they may be. Everything's possible.
I will end on that. Everything is possible. Thank you so much, Ivana, for this wonderful opportunity. And to all of you, that's all the time we have. In case you missed today's episode, you can watch it in full on iwanttv.com.ph or tfc.com.tv. If you're in America, talk to us again next week on Talkback. Maraming salamat, Ivana. Thank you.